All right, so a lot of times you go in for the initial back take and you miss it, and you have to just switch to a guard pass right away. But sometimes you get into a pretty deep back take and you're almost there, but you ended up losing the back head and arm, and you're like, oh, well, the back take wasn't there, but I can still, manage to pass my partner and go into a top pin. So when I see that, I almost take my partner's back from this inverted position, and we fall. We end up here, and we actually get the back head and arm. And my partner starts scooting outside my knees with her hips. And I feel like, oh man, this is no good. And I'm going to look to start taking my partner's back by sitting my partner up, whatever the case may be. As I go to start moving out and away, my head position and my hand position, everything's not tight enough. And as I go to start walking, my partner starts walking out and away in this direction, and you feel your partner's head slip outside like so. Now, as you go to come up, you're still not on your knees yet. So a lot of times, as you go to come up, your partner's knees and elbows come together, and from here, as you come up, your partner just inverts. She puts you back in front, and now you lose everything altogether. Whenever I see this, the second I see that you're going to lose the head, okay, and this is a sensitivity thing. You do this enough times, and you'll know your partner's head is going to slip out. As your partner's head is slipping out, the second I see this, the only thing I focus on is taking my forehead to my partner's forehead. So the second I see the head moving out and away, understand that the second the head comes out, now the knees can come up to the elbows, and now you're coming onto frames, come back, now you're coming onto frames as you go to start passing your partner. Before the head comes out, if the knees come to the elbows, it means nothing, because now she doesn't have the angle that she needs to actually free the head. So before the head comes out, her feet have to be on the floor, and she has to be walking to the proper angle. So when I see her walking to the proper angle, before the head comes out, as the head is coming out, I open up my right elbow. And right before the head comes out, I just immediately take my 2 feet in towards my butt, and then I just push my forehead as she goes to bring the head free. I just push my forehead to my partner's far hip, and I bury my shoulder in my partner's near hip. So now when she goes to bring those knees and elbows together, I have the inside shoulder position relative to my partner's knee and knee and elbow connection. And now from here, we can go in, we can avoid making that cranial shift, and we can pass right to north-south off of the failed back head and arm. So many times, we try to take our partner's back, and we're just immediately not even close. Many times, we go in, we get a good move, we get that upper back exposure, we get to a back head and arm, but we're just not quite there. And as I go to start coming up, I feel like I lose my partner halfway through. So right from here, we fall, we start switching from upper body grips, and we actually get that back head and arm. Now from here, as I go to start going in, taking my partner's back, she goes to start moving away. Now understand, the only way she can free her head is to create an angle where she walks and her head slips out like so. If she doesn't create that angle and she tries to free her head, she won't be able to do it. She has to walk her feet towards my head. That's the only way she can do it. And because she's walking the feet towards my head, her feet are planted on the floor, and she can't form a knee and elbow connection. If she forms a knee and elbow connection here, I'm just going to get up and take her back because I have time to do so. If I'm losing her, it's because her feet are on the floor and she's walking. You have to understand that you have to get up and get your head most of the way towards that far hip before her head comes out. So as she goes to bring that head free, she goes to walk, 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 walk. As it comes out, I'm already here. So now my shoulder line is below her knee line. When she goes to bring those knees in, I can beat her by shooting that forehead to the far hip and connecting my shoulder to the near hip. And now from here, we have our nice top pin in north-south, and we can start to go in for work with our pins, and then eventually our submissions or progressions into different pins. Okay, so when we lose the back head and arm, understand that your partner has to have feet on the floor. You cannot wait until her head's out and focus on just trying to take her partner's back. As the head is slipping, you say, okay, I'm going to lose the back, that's fine, but don't lose the whole position. I'm going to lose the back, but I'm not going to lose the pin. So as you lose your partner's back head and arm, you lose the back, we just take that forehead across to the far hip, and then we go in and take a top pin in north-south on our partner. All right, so now we're going to look at going into some combinations of guard passing and back takes and how we can kind of chain these together. All right, understand that when you're dealing with someone who's very highly resisting, especially if you're competing and there's points, there's world title or whatever the case is on the line. They're not going to just accept the back take, and they're not going to accept the guard pass. So there will be combinations of escapes where they will move to a situation where they're going to accept the guard pass, but not stay there for 3 seconds, then try to turtle and create motion and go back and forth between the two. And you have to be able to follow them until you can eventually pin them either chest to back or chest to chest. Okay. So when I get into these positions, just lay down. When I get into these positions here, and I have my partner in my lap, and I'm trying to go in and start taking my partner's back. If I feel like I don't have the back head on yet, and I'm losing my partner's upper back, like so, we can always switch to that tight waist. And now from here, we can connect that knee and elbow together. We can start coming up to our elbow, up to our knee. And now we can start going into guard passing from here. Understand if your partner starts to turn towards you, she will always give you that pass that you wanted chest to chest. But many times from here, as your partner realizes the guard pass is inevitable, they will explosively go in one direction towards me, and you're like, okay, I have the pass. Then they will go to explode away. The second they go to explode away, we go to that same idea we talked about in attacking turtle. We want to hang body weight off of my partner. So the second she goes to explosively move away from me from here, I take my head out to the far side, and I put a heavy emphasis on that tight waist with my elbow position glued to my partner's hip. And now she goes to move out and away. The only way she can physically get up is to scissor her legs, okay? If her legs stay in this position, like so, she can never actually get up from this position. The only way she can get up is by taking her knee away from her elbow and scissoring her legs, like so. If her bottom knee and elbow stay relatively connected, I can never throw a hook in, but she can never get up. The only way she can get up is to expose the space between the elbow and the knee, and as she does so, she gets up, but it's on my terms, and we'll always expose her to one hook, in which case we can go into all of our attacking turtle series. From here, we can go right back into back takes, power halves, things like that. What will happen frequently is your partner will accept the guard pass and say, oh, nope, I'm not going to accept this, I'm going to get scored on. We'll go to turtle, and as she goes to turtle, she realizes, oh, that hook's coming in. The second you see that she goes to turn back towards you now, immediately, it's just knee to elbow. And then as she goes to turn back towards you, I just punch in that near side underhook. And now from here, we get our chest to back pin, or our chest to chest pin rather, and now we can pin our partner. And we just play a combination game of if she tries to turn away from you, we're here. If she goes to turn towards you, we're here. She goes to turn away, and we're here. And we're just constantly making our partner carry body weight through these transitions until eventually she either one, gets up, slow and labored, and we score, or two, she goes to get up, she sees the hook coming in, she turns towards me, and now she accepts the pin, chest to chest, okay? We can play combinations together off one another. The same is true for the back head and arm, where from here, she goes to start moving out and away. As she does, as she walks her feet towards my head, I walk my feet out and away. Now, right from here, before the head comes out, I shoot my head in, and from here, we touch our partner's far hip like so. Now, if my partner goes to turn in any direction, wherever she goes to turn, she goes to start turning to turtle, turning towards me. We just step around my partner's body like so. And now from here, we go in and we start coming around to the far side. We touch our knee to our own knee, and we switch to a tight waist. So the second my partner goes to get up from here, we go in, and we throw that hook in, and we start attacking. Again, if my partner goes to get up, and she feels the hook coming in, and she goes to turn towards me, and we just go in, and we start pinning our partner chest to chest, just like we did before. So if I'm in north-south, my partner will take a hand and shoot it across the body. As she goes to get up, I don't want my partner's head anymore between my legs, because now she can come up and start going into attacks on me. So the second my partner goes to start turning, I take my knee and I put two knees together on one side of my partner's body. Now from here, as she goes to start getting up, we punch that hand across. Now, as she goes to start getting up, we step a leg up and we cover our partner's hips. We chase the hips from here. Now, as the tight waist goes to come on, it comes on, she goes to get up, and it's very labored from here. Now we can put our hook in nice and easy. So we go for the back take, we fail. We go for the guard pass, we fail. And then we go right back into guard pass, back taking combination. So that you get a full sequence here. The second she goes to start escaping, if she stays belly up from here, and you want to stay in north-south, you keep her head between your knees. Simple. If she goes to take a hand across and start getting up like so, now if your head is between the knees, she can latch onto one of your legs. Now you're wrestling. You don't really want this. So the second we see this, the second she goes to shoot everything across, we just take our knee out and away. So when she goes to grab my leg, it's not there anymore. Now as she goes to go belly down, I want to chase the hips. So I just take my hand as a cross hip, post like so. I take this hand out, and now I just scurry around to my partner's hips. So when she goes to get up from here, there's weight over the hips. That allows me to slide my tight waist in, and that gives me the ability to follow her, wedge her in place long enough to give me the time so she's less athletic than I am, and then we can go in, punch a tight waist in, and then play a dilemma game between back take and guard pass. So we can play these combinations off one another where your partner, you have someone who's super spazzy, just unwilling to accept the score, accept a pin, and just keeps moving. You follow them, forcing them the whole time to carry body weight until you eventually break through in the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth transition, where they're just like, oh, fine, this guy's just sticking to me like glue and carrying body weight the whole time. And they settle down, accept the pin, or accept the back take. All right, so now we're going to look at going into a front roll to take my partner's back off of this initial extraction of the leg and forcing our partner into this inversion, okay? And like I said, there's pluses and minuses to both of these, and I'll explain it later. I'm going to explain it now. When we fall versus an inverted opponent into situations like this, we create less upper back exposure, but we're flanking our partner because we're on a hip. And so even if we fail to create the upper back exposure, we can still have good follow-up guard passes, and the chances of just losing our partner completely or losing top position completely are a lot lower than the following move, okay? So while there's less upper back exposure, and you may have less chance of taking your partner's back because of the degree of upper back exposure, you have a better chance of going into guard passes if you completely fail. And if you completely fail the guard pass and the back take, the chances of you ending up on top are still pretty high from here. Whereas if you go for this back take, you go into a forward roll, if your partner from here, if you go to start rolling forward and you go to grab your partner's hips and you miss for whatever reason, your partner strips the grip or whatever the case is, and from here you miss the connection to your partner's legs, and from here you try to roll through and you fail, now you end up in bottom position and things can start to go south from here. So while if you do the move right, you have a higher degree of upper back exposure, so the chance of taking your partner's back is higher, but the chances of you losing top position, losing the ability to pass your partner's guard, things like that, your ability to go into follow-up attacks, if you fail right up from the beginning, you can run into some issues from there, okay? So the pros of using the previous move is that even if you fail, you still have a good ability to follow up with guard passes, and you can pretty easily remain in top position. The cons are that you don't create as much upper back exposure. Here, the one we're about to look at, you create much more upper back exposure, but if you go to roll and you don't have a proper connection to your partner's legs, or she strips the grips on the hips, you can lose top position altogether. You can lose your ability to start passing your partner, and you can run some issues where you went for a back take and now you're in bottom position. Okay, so there's pros and cons to both, but they're both very good. So now let's look at going into this forward roll. From here, I'm just going to grab my partner's two hips. So we're playing in this position, and I'm here. I'm just going to grab my partner's two hips, and I'm going to forward roll over my partner. As I go to do this, what I'm looking to do is to get my head as close to my partner's head as possible, and I land on two of my shoulders. So that from here, my hands on my partner's hips will pull my partner's hips down towards my feet, and it will also do a good job of putting tension running through my partner's legs at the thighs to create a connection at the top of my partner's legs, and then a connection underneath my partner's hamstrings with my feet. So my hands have two actions. They physically pull my partner down towards my feet, like this. And my hands push my partner's hamstrings into my feet to help me generate a sticky connection with my hooks. And now from here, as we roll, we just pull our partner into our lap and we create that upper back exposure. Now, my partner lands directly between my two knees. I had that chest to back connection right from the beginning, and it's the easiest thing in the world now to put my upper body grips in place. Now, right from here, the choice is yours. If I fall to the overhook side, as we go to fall, we look to insert our bottom hook. If from here we fall to the underhook side, we also look to insert our bottom hook, but as we do it, we have to make sure that our head is in good position. If we fall to the underhook side, and our head is in poor position, she moves her head out and away and starts to bring her hips out and move out and away into situations where she can start to free herself. So from here, as I go to fall, I glue my chin to my partner's trap. And again, I have that elbow covering my partner's shoulder. So when she goes to move out and away, it becomes very, very difficult. And now from here, we can insert our second hook however we want to do it from there. So the second we see our partner is between our knees like so, we're looking to fall to a side and insert our bottom hook. As we go to insert our bottom hook, defensive hands in. As we go to insert our bottom hook from here, if we feel like for whatever reason we cannot do that, and she has that knee up high, now from here, we always look to insert our top hook. And now once again, we can either one, scoot out and away and pull ourselves underneath our partner, like so, like we did before. Or we can start building up to that elbow and come up and take our partners back like we did before. Or from here, if we feel like our partner is moving out and away, and we can go outside butterfly hook, and now we can start going in and taking our partners back as we did before from this position, okay? Only difference is we're on the overhook side now. So as we go to do it, it'll still be building to an elbow. I'll just flare this elbow out. We'll come up, and we'll pull our partner into this position here, all right? And now from here, we can either pull our partner up to that seated position, like so, or if you feel like you just can't get up from here and she goes to start moving away, we just pull ourselves up. And now from here, we start playing the same game that we did before, okay? So very, very similar options working from those positions. So this time, she's inverted. We extract our leg from that initial Arimi Ashi. We grab two of our partner's hips. So we're flat here. When we're ready to go, we just grab two hips. So we're initially in this position here or here, okay? If my partner, and the cue for this is my partner's hip position. If my partner's hips are square, totally square, the forward roll is a good option. If my partner is leaning out to one side like so, then falling to hip is a great option, okay? It's gonna be hard to forward roll from here and get your head buried where you need it to, because now you see my head is down by my partner's hips. You kind of lose the connection from here. What I want when I go into this forward roll is this. My head close to my partner's shoulder line. So now I have a strong connection. When she goes to bring that upper back to the floor, I can bring her between my legs nice and easy. So your general cue for this is if your partner's hips are totally square, forward roll is a good option. If your partner's hips are staggered to one side or the other, falling to a hip is a good option. Okay, so there's just a general rule for you to look out for. So for here, we go into this forward roll. So we're playing here, we go into this forward roll, and we end up in this position like so. And my whole thing is, she'll have her knees up trying to palm her legs. I put tension, two hooks go in, then we just pull our partner between our legs. Now from here, we go in, we place our upper body grips in place. As we fall to a side, we look to insert our hooks. If at any case, in any scenario, your partner tries to aggressively scoot outside your knees and step over like so, I have to put a tight waist in on that side. So if she moves out to my left, now my tight waist comes in if I'm going to look to start passing my partner's guard. Obviously, we can go to a backhanded arm if we want, but we can also, if we lose that, go right up and go into our guard passes, back take combinations from here. If from here, you see your partner starts to move out to the opposite side, like so. Now we can go either backhanded arm, like so, or if you see your partner start moving out and away, and she's going to turtle, we just punch a tight waist in, and then as she goes to get up, we go in, we can start attacking turtle as we did before, okay? So we have options of either staying with the backhanded arm, go looking to take my partner's back, or we can go in, and we can start switching to tight waist, so my partner's going outside my knees, trying to turtle, trying to move out and away from me, and get away. So your general rule is, if your partner's hips are square, front roll is a good option, and you don't have to, you can force your partner into pretty much either position. You can wait until they're square, you can push them to a side, so you can kind of help dictate that. But if they're square, front roll is a great option. If they're staggered, falling to a hip is a great option, and you have many back take and guard pass combinations from either one of those attacks. And this all comes off of a quick opportunistic extraction from an Arimi Ashigarami when the Ashigarami isn't really set how it's supposed to. You're putting a lot of pressure forward into your partner, and as they go to invert to alleviate that pressure, you extract the leg and you keep them forced in an inversion, and then you can go into back takes. And the worst case scenario, you extract the leg, you can't keep them inverted, and they just invert, and then you're back in guard, and now your leg isn't getting attacked anymore, and then you just go back into your neutral regular jiu-jitsu. All right, so we looked at everything as far as defending our heel and going into attacks, but there's always going to be times where our partner actually exposes our heel and then forces me to go into a defensive role, okay? So obviously we're trying to heel slip if we can. If my partner exposes my heel from a Arimi Ashi, like so, we can always come forward and look to start heel slipping and protecting ourselves. But there's always a time where she goes in, she starts to expose my heel like so, and I start to run into trouble from here. Whenever I see this, we're gonna look to start going in, and we can look to start separating our partner's legs, going to a half roll and separating our partner's legs like we did previously. Or what we can also do is we can force our partner to go into a reap, and we can look to start freeing our knee on the half roll. So right from here, we can tuck our foot in. She goes to start exposing me, and right from here, I pop up to my knee, and I slide my knee down, and I get my knee all the way down to the mat. Now, right from here, I don't want her switching to a calf slice and inverting her knee inside and looking to go in and start taking my back. So the second we get here, I step my foot up and I immediately start sitting back onto my partner's hips like so. So that now from here, when she goes to do anything, it's not going to be easy for her. Right from here, we just punch an underhook in place as my foot starts to come out and the grip starts to come out and away. Now there's a lot of distance to cover from here. If my partner's naive, I can just slide my knee to the floor, and then as she goes to face me, she'll fall into an underhook and I can start passing. The truth is, a good partner is you're never gonna end up in this place, in this position with somebody good. There's so much distance to cover from here. So from here, more than likely what's gonna happen is you put an underhook in place, and from here, as you go to start passing, your partner will always come towards you and put a cross shoulder post in place, okay? If she doesn't, and you fall into an underhook and a cross face, then you just pass. If from here, you try to put an underhook in and your partner doesn't put that cross shoulder or whatever the case is, and you go to pass and she goes to avoid a pass from here, she can just turn away from you, and as she goes to turn away, and you just put the tight waist in and you play the game we have been playing. More than likely from here, what's gonna happen is the second you're here, you go to start passing, your partner will put a cross shoulder post in. So now I can't come forward towards the upper body because I've come onto the inside position. So right from here, as she goes to invert that knee, I take my elbow inside. I take my hand to the knee, and as she goes to start playing, I just pop up into a camping position. And once I start playing that camping position, bring your knees up. From here, we go into that same sequence where you look at, where we either go arm drag if she turns towards us, or if she goes to turn away, we put a tight waist in, and we attack our partner's back, okay? So we play a basic game where I try to hide my heel, and if I do, we go into all the previous moves from here, okay? And as your partner goes to invert, it's a pretty common thing actually, unless the Ashigarami is very, very good, where you can just extract your leg and force your partner into an inversion, okay? But sometimes she's good, she exposes my heel, and I'm like, oh, that's no good. So what I can do from here is I can go into a half roll, I can separate my partner's legs, I can go back into the heel slip, and now I can't go into any back takes right from here. I have to stand up and go into my standing passing and then go into back takes later. What I can do is I can force my partner into a reap and come up and put my knee down on the floor. Now I don't want her splitting the legs and going into a calf slice. So I physically sit back on my partner's legs and hips. Right from here, as I wiggle my leg out and my foot out over time, and she accepts that the grip is lost, I just punch my hand in like so. Now from here, we just slide our knee to the floor. We take a big step around. If her hand position is lazy, we fall into side control. Now from here, she has a choice. She can accept the pin, like so. She can turn away from me, like so, where she gets beat. Or if my head's not in perfect position down here, she can even turn towards me. And from here, start coming up towards me and facing me. And now from here, we can start playing a game where we take our partner's back, or we can even play here, look to step over into mount. There's tons of different things we can do from here, okay? More than likely what's gonna happen is right from here, the second we go to start passing, as my partner inverts the knee, she uses the cross shoulder post to make space, and I end up here. If I come onto my partner's upper body frame, my underhook actually becomes a liability, and she can start going into tekatame, plant positions, and start giving me trouble from here. So the second I see this, we shorten the elbow to protect it, and to put us in better passing position. We go to the knee, and then we just pop up to our feet, and we start playing from here, and we go into all of our previous passes, contingent upon what my partner does as far as defensive reaction goes. Okay, so we go into a half roll, we just punch an underhook in, and then we act accordingly depending on our partner's competence in our upper body framing grips. All right, so now we've looked at this before. We're just gonna go into building up to standing position from a Rimi Ashigarami. So my partner has me. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I didn't know.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
So I'm hiding my foot like so. She is in a Rimi Ashigarami. It's locked in pretty tight. And from here, we're gonna look to start standing up. All right. From this position, as I go to stand up, I'm gonna look to start tucking my foot in towards my butt like so. And I'm gonna look to move into a situation where I can roll up over my shin. Now I wanna grab the inside of my partner's knee like so, and just rock my head from one side to the other. And this gives me the momentum to start standing up. Now, when I go to start getting up to my knee, it's very important from here that I don't come up to my knee and allow her to rotate my heel and look to start exposing me and rolling me all the way through. So the second I go to get up, I come up to my knee and then I hold my partner's knee with my left hand. I don't want to start pointing her knees in this direction, exposing my heel. So the way that we do this is we rock our partner from one side to the other. We come up to the knee, and then we pressure forward into our partner, and we hold her left knee. So now, when she goes to point her knees out to her left and expose my heel, I control the Ashigarami through my hand placement. Now, I take my head and I bring it over my partner's head. So now when she goes to expose my heel, there's just no way she can do it. Now, from this position, I can't stand up and put my shoulders over my hips. Then she just knocked me backwards. All right, it's no good. So I keep my hand out on the floor like so. I come up to my toes, and now I just use a simple situation where I step up to my foot, and I keep my head down like so. So my shoulders are never coming over my hips right now because I'm getting knocked backwards. And I can control my partner's leg like so. So when she goes to off balance me, it's not going to be easy. And now I never present that second leg to her because now she can knock me backwards. So I have a nice wide stance, shoulders in front of hips, head leaning over for now. And now when she goes to off balance me from here, we can stand up nice and easy. Okay? So this was in the previous instructional, but for those of you who may not have watched it, just want to put this in there just so you guys can stand up safely. We go from a situation where we're heisting towards our partner, pressuring forward. We just tuck our foot in like so. Now we go in 1, 2, 3. We come up to the foot. Now we're standing up in a good position where we're bent over. She goes to off balance me. It's going to be difficult from here. And then only when we start separating the feet, do we come to vertical posture, and then we can start passing. All right, so now we're going to look at, the role of the Achilles here. And if we see our partner has an Achilles, it's going to be hard to step forward out of the Achilles. Not impossible, but a lot harder to step forward out of the Achilles. So if we see our partner has an Achilles, we're going to look to back step. But if our partner doesn't have an Achilles or is trying to expose my heel, whatever the case is, we can forward step into north-south. And we looked at that in the previous instructional. We're just going to run through it real quick here for those of you who haven't seen it. And then we're going to go into passes and back takes off of that. So right from here, whenever I see I'm standing over my partner and we're in a position where we want to start to look to threaten a guard pass and then go into back takes off the pass, we take a V grip on our partner's ankle. We take a V grip on the sole of our partner's foot, and from here we just separate our partner's 2 feet like so. Now we just step forward over our partner's head like so, and then we just turn and face our partner as we come out. Now we're past our partner's shoulder line, ready to start going in and playing the passing game from a situation where we're past our partner's shoulder line in north-south. And then we can start threatening passes, and as our partner goes to turtle, we can go into some advanced sequences on how to follow our partner's back. So we're here. We go V grip on our partner's ankle. We go V grip on our partner's foot. We separate the feet. And now right from here, we just step forward. 1, 2, and then we square up to our partner. We put hands on the ankles, hands on the knees, and we start going in and start passing as we did in all the other previous instructionals. All right, so now off this forward step, we're in north-south, and we're going to start passing into north-south. Now, because you're past your partner's shoulder line, if you look at a lot of the high-level guard passes, it's either forcing someone into half guard or it's toreando, get to north-south, and then start camping from north-south, and then eventually your partner gets tired because their knees are coming to their chest the whole time, and they eventually get passed. So many times, the second your partner sees that their height of their knees, their knee line is beat by the height of your shoulder line, where your shoulder line, bring your knees up, where your shoulder line comes lower than the height of her knee line, they're going to start going in and start trying to turtle. So the second I see, I'm going to look to start passing from here. And again, this is recognizing opportunity and being ready for your partner to go in and start turtling when she feels that she's going to get passed. So from here, we go in, we put hands on our partner's ankles like so, and we take elbows inside. All right, and as you guys know, if you've been watching previous instructionals, we take one elbow inside, we take one elbow inside, and now we go in, and the second we go to crash the center line with our head, my partner realizes she beat, and she goes to start turtling. The second she goes to start turtling, I immediately take my 2 knees to one side of her head as we did before. We shoot that hand across, and then the whole thing is we just cover our partner's hips. So she goes to start moving out and away. We just cover the hips like so. We just scurry. We're here. We just scurry towards our partner's hips. And now we play that same game we did before. If she turns away, we go tight waist. If she turns towards me, we go underhook to your side. Or if she turns towards me and the elbow comes inside, we go cross face. And we play from here, and now we start passing with nice top pins. Okay? So the second we see we're passing a partner, you have to be able to recognize opportunity. This is going to be happening fast. It looks like basic stuff, but the sequences and the timing on it is, and the anticipation of your partner going is what we're looking at here. So right from here, we forward step past, we're looking to start fighting, looking to start go passing. The second I feel my partner knows that she's beat and she goes to start turtling, we immediately cover the hips. And right from here, now she has a choice. She turns away, she gets her back taken. She turns towards me, she gets her guard passed. Now going into the sequence a little bit further, my partner has me in an Arimi Ashigarami. From here, we separate the legs. So she's attacking my legs, we go and we forward step like so, we start passing. The second she realizes she's beat at the pass, we go in and we go to start coming in and start taking our partner's back. But before we can get to her, to cover her hips, she already comes up into turtle position, and we're like, oh man, we're not gonna be able to beat her from here. From this position, the second we're here, she's like, screw that, I'm gonna fall to my far hip, and I'm gonna try to re-guard, like so, okay? And then a lot of times I can lose my partner. The second I see this, right from here, As my partner goes to start moving out and away, I want to keep her hips again between my knees. So as she goes to start rolling, I want my knee to beat her hip to the floor on the far side. You can do this with a couple of grips. We can either go in and lock a backhand and arm. So as she goes to roll, she falls right into my lap. Then we can put our hook in as we go, and then fall and insert our hook as we did before. You can also do this if you don't have time to lock your hands, the cross trap grip. So as she goes to fall, we pull our partner in. So if she goes to bring her back to the floor, the cross trap pulls her in, and now from here we can lock that backhand and arm, fall across, and use the momentum of beating our partner out and over to the side. All right. So this time we pass. We got to take the back. The second she goes to get up, maybe I'm too far away from the hips. She goes to get up. I can't get my hook in, and right now I cover the hips, but I don't have my hook in. As I cover the hips, she goes to roll. And now from here, we're in on our partner's back, ready to go and ready to win. There's always going to come a time where you try to follow your partner from here, and as you go to follow your partner, you're just too late. Okay, so this, again, it comes down to recognizing opportunity, anticipation, and timing. So when you go to get to your partner's hips, it's already a little bit too late, and before she goes to roll, you feel like your hips are too far away to beat her. The second you see she goes to sit to that hip, I just take a tight waist. And now my whole thing from here is I just meet her far hip with my right knee. The second she goes to roll, I just stab my knee in like so, and I connect my knee to her far hip. Now from here, when she goes to shrimp away, it's impossible. When she goes to start doing anything, she comes onto a tight waist, onto a cross face. The only way she can go now is to aggressively turn back into me, like so. But as she has to turn back into me, she runs into my knee. And this will always give me time where as she goes to move away, I just put my foot in like so, I open up my knee, now she comes back onto the hook. Right, so we're getting very advanced now. This is a pretty long 4 or 5 step sequence. So if I feel like I get here, there's always gonna be a time where I can't cover my partner's hips. So I'm trying to go in, she turns from north-south, I try to go in, get the backhand arm and follow her. I feel like it's just not gonna happen. And right from here, as she goes to roll, I pretend like I'm gonna follow her, she goes to roll, and we just move into this position here. If her back continues to come to the floor, she comes onto a cross face and a tight waist. So she has to start turning towards me. As she aggressively turns towards me, I just open up my right knee. Now from here, as I open up the right knee, I just take my left knee and I slide it forward to my partner's shoulder line. As I do so, my left foot comes in. So that when she clears that knee finally, and she walks out, she comes right onto my hook. And now from here we have one hook in, and we're ready to go. So we fight, lay down. We fight from this position. As she goes to get up, I just cover and I open up my knee like so. And now at the second she goes to start fighting the knee position, I just put my hook in. So I walk towards her, go to walk away. I walk, I walk, I walk. Then I feed my left leg in, we put one hook, and I'm ready to go. So this can turn into a really intricate sequence where we forward step, we start passing from north-south, our partner goes to turn away, and we look at one thing. If we can cover our partner's hips and get our partner's hips between our knees, follow the back. If your partner falls to the far hip before you can get their hips between your knees, then you go right back to a guard pass. And if your partner doesn't let you hit the guard pass and tries to come back up the turtle, then you open up your knee, insert the hook, and then you can start going in, power half, second hook, and work from there. So you see, we've seen a lot of these things before, but the sequences that put them together coherently against high-level people is what we're looking at now. And everything is starting to come full circle and get important as we go with these more advanced sequences. All right, so now we're gonna look at using that same forward step, like so. This time, we go in, we start passing into north-south, and as we go to pass into north-south, our partner takes a cross post, usually on one of my shins or an inside grip like so, and looks to start rotating to put me back in front of her, like so. This is what she wants, and to entangle my legs with hers. So I catch her halfway through the rotation, and as she goes to start moving in, we just take a hand to the hip, again, a hand to the knee, and we just crash our head to our partner's far shoulder as we sprawl our legs back and away. And we play in this outside camping position here, where we have a hand inside the hip and elbow inside of our partner's thigh, and we're pushing the knee down and out and away from our partner's chest. So we're dealing with that knee and elbow connection and challenging that space between the knee and the elbow. So we don't let her go into a full rotation and put herself back in front of me. We let her go into only a half rotation. We're passing here. The second she goes to regard, we go in here and we start camping. Now when she goes to move, we can start playing here and we threaten a pass. Many people will feel passes coming and they'll either turn away from you to give you their back, or they'll turn towards you to try to wrestle you and come up and avoid a pass altogether. And then we can go into passes and back takes and chain them together off of those two reactions. All right, so now we're always going to find ourselves in situations, and this is a very common series from here, where from here we are camping in this position, and our partner feels like there's just no high legs, nothing they can do, they're getting exhausted, and they try to explosively turn away from you. The second I see my partner goes to explosively turn away, right from here, the first thing I want to do is I want to convert that far hip post to a tight waist. I want to put pressure over our partner's hip like so. Now I want to slide my left knee in towards my partner's hip. I want to have my legs splayed like this. So I'm hanging weight off my partner's body. Right from here, the reason I have my legs in this position is because what I don't want is to have my legs stepped up here, and then she turns back into me, and from here she can go in and start locking half guard or bring her legs back inside and give me all kinds of trouble. So I deny my partner my rear leg by putting my knee down on the floor. We play in this position. Now when she goes to enter into my leg, she can't do it. Now, as she goes to get up from here, then I open up my knee and I put it here on my partner's hip with my knee and elbow connected. So now when she goes to get up, it's on my terms, we can put that hook in and we can start going to work. This is all going to be happening very quickly. What this is going to look like is this. We hit that forward step, we start camping. She's resisting. The second she goes to get up, we're here. And at very least, even if we don't get a hook in, we have a 2-on-1 on our partner's leg. We're looking to go in, attack turtle, and now we can start breaking our partner down, putting the hook in, and working from here. So we keep that connection to our partner. We have a post hand to keep our head nice and high, and we go from the post hip to a strong tight waist. The second I feel my partner go to turn away, you have to put weight over this near hip with your elbow. So we're camping, she goes to start moving out and away, we're here. Now, right from here, as my partner goes to get up, we put that hook in, and we can go in and start attacking from turtle and breaking our partner down, power halves, etc., and going to work. So we hit that forward step, we threaten passing to north-south. As we go to pass, she goes to put us back into guard. We go outside camping, she turns away, we go tight waist right away, and we take our partners back. All right, so now we're going to taking our partners back when your partner tries to turn towards you from these outside camping positions. And of course, this all starts off of an initial Arimi Ashi defense. And now we're getting into kind of a different sequence here, but it all stems off of the initial leg lock defense where you defend the Ashigarami and then go right into a camping position. And this is happening, I know it's broken up with the clips here, but in a live scenario, this is happening within 5 to 10 seconds. Like this is one sequence. Your partner enters into Ashigarami, you clear the Ashigarami, defend your legs, you go into an attack on the guard, you threaten a guard pass, and you take your partners back. So one thing that you'll see commonly, actually Roberto Jimenez tried to do this to me, I actually went back into half guard and flattened him out of half guard, but there is a back take you can do from here as well. When you're camping, some guys will try to scoot down and away, and I'll use this underhook to try to scoot and scoot and scoot and scoot and come up into single legs here, or go in and start wrestling and try to wrestle you like that. Whenever I see that, again, this is in terms of matter of anticipation. The second I see that, she goes to start scooting, I'm going to come up and I'm just going to chop my partner's hand down like so. And then I'm going to use my forearm to pass everything off to an arm drag grip. So if my partner continues to come up, she comes up to her knees with me behind her elbows, ready to go in and start attacking from turtle position. So what this will look like is we're in this outside camping position. She goes to start scooting. As she does so, we just come out into this position. Now, right from here, we just chop everything down, and as she goes to come up, we just drag everything on through, okay? So we come in, nice and slow. We come in, and I'm just gonna go down on my knees just because there's so much weight on her, it's hard for her to actually scoot. But from here, she goes to start scooting from here. As she goes to start scooting, we bring everything down. Right from here, as she comes up, I drag everything on by. And now we end up behind our partner in turtle position, ready to go. So we clear the ashigarami. This is happening all quick. We clear the ashigarami. The second we clear, we're here. She goes to go in, she goes to regard, she goes to start camping, she goes to start moving out the way. Now we're on our partner's back, ready to go in and start attacking turtle position, okay? So again, getting pretty intricate from here, but this is happening quickly, and you have to be able to anticipate these sequences as you're going in, defending your legs, and go right back into an offensive cycle, guard pass, or back take.
Look, chewing.
All right, so Sunny's making fun of my hair. The whole reason my hair looks like this is because you wanted me to grow it out long.
No.
But guess what? I'm filming, so if I slick it back, it'll just get all messed up, and then it'll look twice as bad because it'll be like half sticky, but not slick back. If I leave it like this, then I look like I'm homeless, and she's making fun of me, but you're the whole reason that my hair is as long.
I am the whole reason you look handsome in pictures. Listen to me. If you guys watch how I did this, I'm going to give you a discount.
I'm like a more manly, bearded Arnold and Roddy.
Every time, before we start a video, Gordon comes like, hey guys, sorry I look like this because of that. Hi guys, hey, I look like this because we've been traveling, because I've been sick. Every DVD, I promise you that. Gordon come up, hey guys, sorry I look like this because always an excuse. Never because I'm a lazy PSO. POS. And I didn't take care of myself before doing it.
Guess what? I'm not a dummy.
I'm too.
Too far?
Too far. I speak two languages, you speak none language.
I may have this haircut, but guess what? Still sexy.
No. So anyways, this guy talks. The real reason he has his hair like this, because he just like get up and come film. That's what he does. So don't fool for any
Whatever,
of that.
man. Whatever, man. Okay? Yeah. Let's just go into guard passes. Okay, so off this outside camping position, when my partner goes to start turning in towards me. And she goes to start turning in towards me. When she goes to start turning in towards me, I slap this arm down, and we start going into an arm drag. Now, as she goes to come up, this is a pretty interesting scenario here. Because if she comes up towards me, she ends up with a tight waist on this side. So many times what happens is, we end up here, she realizes if she comes up any further, that's from here, she comes up into the tight waist. So what happens from here is she goes to come up, and then she's like, nope, my back's gonna be exposed. The second you see her back coming down towards the floor, immediately I slide my knee across to that far hip. So when she goes to bring her back down, I immediately slide down, and I either catch behind my partner's hips like so, or even better, we lock that tight waist. Depending on how quick you are and how far you are from your partner, you'll either have a tight waist or you'll just have a wedge behind your partner's back. Both are good from here. Now from here, your partner has a choice. If from here she aggressively pulls her elbow back, I just release it, I go right into a crossface. If from here, your partner tries to come in and start moving towards you, then I just pull the arm in by, and because I had the arm drag grip still, she can't bring that knee and elbow together. And I have my knee wedged in place. So the second she goes to get up, I can always insert that left leg pretty easily from here, and I can beat my partner no problem, okay? So the second we're camping, she goes to start getting up, we go drag. The second I go drag, she goes to start getting up and feels, oh, nope, I can't do that. My back's gonna get taken. The second we go in, she goes to slide in, we slide that knee through. Now from here, if I have the drag grip and she pulls it back and away, we go tight, we go cross face. If I have the drag grip and she doesn't want to get her guard pass and she goes to get up, I make space from here. And now she comes up, she comes onto my hook and we can start working from one hook from internal position, okay? Another great option is from here, we go to hit a drag. As we go to hit the drag from here, my partner goes to pull out and away, and you feel like the arm drag grip is slipping for whatever reason. If you feel like the arm drag grip is slipping and you can't make this jump, and you can't get your knee in place in time, and this is, again, going to be a timing thing. It's going to take some work here, some time here in this position to know and recognize the opportunities. If you see the drag grip is slipping and you're not going to have time to get knee in and elbow wedge, and your partner moves back down the way, the grip slips, I just shoot my forehead to that far hip like we did before. I shoot my shoulder to the near hip, and we just go in and we land right into north-south, and we start passing our partner from here. So this time she goes to come up. As she goes to come up, we slap that arm drag down, and from here I feel like I can't get to my partner's hips. As the drag grip goes to slip away, we just dive in towards our partner's far hip, and now from here we can pass with the high tripod right into north-south. So if you feel like you can get to the hips in time, she goes to come up, and maybe she comes up 80% of the way, but feels like, oh, no, my back's gonna get taken. As she goes down, we go for the first one. This time, maybe she comes up 30% of the way. And I feel like, oh, I can't get to the waist like I want to. And as she goes to move down and away, we just go right into north-south, go into a high tripod, and we start passing, okay? So some realistic sequences, the second we clear the Ashigarami, going right to passing sequences, and then going passing, back take, passing, back take. All right, so now when a partner has the Achilles, and you feel like stepping forward above the shoulder line isn't gonna be an option, and then from here, we just go in, we strip that grip, we look to get two of our feet to the same side of our partner's body. So right from here, we lean our weight up and over 1 foot, that creates a weightless foot, and from here, we hit a quick back step, like so. Now, my partner can't keep the Achilles grip. It has no function when her legs aren't entangled. So the second she lets go, we step 1 foot back, 2 feet back, and we go right into a camping position where we can start going in and passing right from there. Or we can circle to north-south and start passing from there, and then all the previous sequences will ensue from here. Either you pass your partner's guard, or she goes to move out and away, and either turns away, turns towards you, and you play a combination dilemma of back takes, guard passes, back takes, guard passes. But if she has an Achilles, and it's tight, if I strip the grip and I go to forward step, I get stuck sometimes. So instead, I back step. As I back step, she goes to start recovering. We go right into a camping position, and we go into all the former sequences, and we play those off one another to get into either a top pin or chest to back pin.